My name is Joel. I'm with West Thurston Regional Fire Authority. We're going to be doing a demonstration today on how to not burn your house down while cooking a turkey. It is November 23rd. We have 2 days from now. We have the holiday Thanksgiving, and so a lot of people in the last couple of years, deep frying your turkey has been kind of a thing. The problem is there's a lot of it's a very safe way of doing it. It's a very delicious way of doing it. But there's also a lot of safety concerns that a lot of people need to pay attention. Statistically, there is 4,000 to 5,000 homes that catch on fire every year because of improper ways of doing the turkey. So right now we have the oil on. We'll go into this a little bit later as far as how we do that. We have the bird in here. West Thurston purchased a 13-pound turkey. He was not pardoned this year. 13-pound turkey for the crew today, so after we get done with the demonstration, the on-duty crew is going to have an early Thanksgiving dinner. So one of the things we also like doing in the fire department, myself especially, is we really like cooking for the crews each night, so I really enjoy cooking. So we took this bird. A couple of things that you want to do is, one, never ever put a frozen bird into hot oil, okay? It's going to be nothing but bad. It's going to kind of explode on you. You're going to have lots of flame, and you're going to have a lot of splattering of oil, and it's going to cause burns and everything else. Stuff that we as firefighters do not like responding to, okay? So make sure it's thawed out. You want to make sure that it's fairly dry, or at least patted down before you introduce it to the oil. We've seasoned this bird. When you're cooking it in peanut oil, and that's what you want to use, the container must be gone here. You want to make sure you use peanut oil when you're cooking the bird in the pot. So a lot of the flavor will come from that peanut oil and the bird itself, and so but you can add some spices to it. So make sure and use peanut oil. We've seasoned this with a little bit of Johnny's, a few other little spices. Some people can inject them. They like to inject them with butter, or inject them with garlic. You can do that as well if you want. We're just going to go straight spices on this thing. One of the biggest things how people light their house on fire or catch something on fire is the first thing that they do is they don't do it outside. We are inside a fire department bay, and we're doing that primarily because there's a pretty good wind this evening. We have a beautiful northwest Washington fall day, but there's a little bit of wind, so it was kind of hampering our getting our oil up to heat. So we're doing it just inside the bay here. Things you want to have on hand when you're doing this, in case you have any problems. Okay, fire extinguisher. The other thing that you want to make sure and have is a good pair of gloves or oven mitts, something that it's going to take some heat if you need to. We'll kind of go about how we're going to do that later on. When we introduce the bird to the oil, you want to make sure and have something for eye pro, so you have this on your eyes in case you get some oil that starts kicking up, that you're not getting burned. Of course, we're going the extra protection here. We actually have bunker coats on, mostly because it's cold out. And we're also outside, so it makes it for a that you want to keep that off your wooden deck or underneath your awning or something like that in case you do have a problem. We talked about the bird. We talked about spicing the bird. The one thing you want to do before you do all that is the biggest thing with oil when they do turkey and frying is that they put a bunch of oil in the pot and they say, oh, that looks good. They put the bird in and it overflows. You have flame down there. As soon as that hot peanut oil comes in contact with that flame, guess what happens? Okay? 911 is usually called, and usually we show up, and it's never really that good. So a trick to doing this is take your bird before you do the spices, before you do anything else, put it in the pot that you're going to use, fill it up with water until it just covers over top of the turkey. So make sure and mark when you take the turkey out of the water, make sure that you mark where that level is at. One of the things that people do that is the real problem is they put the turkey in, they fill it full of water, and then what they do is they mark where that line is at, covering the turkey, and then they take the turkey out and they fill the oil in there. Well, now you're too full. So make sure and fill it up, cover the bird, take the bird out, mark the line, put your oil to that line before you put it on it. That way you know when you put your turkey in, the oil is covering it, and it's also not going to go over top of your pot. So there's a few tips that we're going to get going on that. As far as like deep frying it, I'm not going to get too much into cooking details because we're talking more about safety here. So, but 13-pound bird, we're gonna cook them for about 40 minutes. You want to get your temperature. We're almost there. We're at 289 right now. We need to get to about 325, and then we're gonna introduce the bird and kind of go. Getting up to temp. We're getting close to that time where we're gonna put the bird in. A few different things. I think we mentioned it before, but good things to have on hand. We talked about the gloves, your eye protection. We talked about a fire extinguisher to have nearby. Some people want to get out a water hose and have it sitting there. Probably not the best thing to have. And the reason why is because when you have hot oil and you put water on it, guess what happens? It goes everywhere. So, and it doesn't necessarily put the fire out. So when we're talking about fire extinguishers, make sure you guys have like an ABC fire extinguisher. It's the most common one you can get. Most households, you should always have one of these in your house anyway. So make sure that you have one of these nearby in case something goes bad. We talked about seasoning the bird, the poundage. A lot of times there's different recipes and different times that you want to do it depending on the temperature that you're cooking at. We're going to be cooking this bird at about 325 to 350. We're going to be cooking 3 minutes per pound. It's a 13-pound bird, which is a really good pound. If you get up above some people want to cook these 20-pound birds in these things, they take forever, and what you find is that you burn the outside and the inside's still quite not done. So 13-pound bird is awesome. So we seasoned it again, and we talked about that. One tip is if you guys want to kind of take it up a notch, one thing you can do with these birds is if you have the ability to brine them. If you brine them, and one thing I like doing is you take celery, apples, carrots, you take an apple cider, you brine them for 24 to 48 hours, dash of whiskey if you want, bunch of salt, and then you brine them for 24 to 48 hours before you put them. I met a medicure years ago. One of his favorite things that he liked to do, you can't really do this while you're on duty, of course, but he would introduce the shot of wild turkey before he introduced the bird to the oil as a memento to the bird. So, of course, we can't really do that here, but, develop your own tradition. Just make sure that they're safe traditions so that we like seeing public, but we don't like coming out and seeing the product of something like this go bad. Some of these fryers will have something where you set the bird directly down on that. This bird is small enough, it's going to fit in this little tray. It works really, really good for getting it out. So I have a little hook here that we're going to use. Stand back when you're doing this. Don't go directly over top of it. And let it go down real slow. Once you get it in there, you want to cover. That's going to help you keep your temp. You keep it open like that, everybody's supposed to sit there and watch it, but a lot of times you're going to have a problem with with keeping the temp. So. One of you guys back there want to set a clock for 40 minutes? That's already smelling awesome. Because as we take this bird out, we're going to have that tray, you're going to have some dripping. And so we're going to try and keep that down to a minimum. We'll take the temperature gauge out of there because we know we're done with that. Okay, again, make sure and have a fire extinguisher nearby. I've got both my gloves on this time. And then we're going to put our eye protection on. So we'll take the bird out. Go really slow when you bring it out. You let it drip for a minute. Put the lid back on it, let it cool down. So we're going to go ahead and let this cool down for a few minutes, and we'll come back, and what I'm going to do is we'll tip it over and put it into there, so when we come back to the video, you guys will see what it looks like as a finished product. Oh, of course, a little. I think I've got it. can cook, but I can't cut up a turkey very well, so. We're just gonna taste test here in just a minute. We'll see how it goes. So I hope this video was informative to everybody. Make sure when you guys are done with all your equipment that, as far as like the cooker and stuff like that, that remind you that everything stays really hot for a really, really long time. So the oil in the pot, we're gonna leave that for probably about an hour or two before we discard that. Make sure you don't have kids go over and getting into it because it can still burn them very bad. So from everybody at West Thurston, we want to thank everybody for hope this was helpful, and then we hope that we don't see any of you guys during Thanksgiving on a 911 call because of this. And wish you guys happy holidays. Thank you for watching.